Look, I'm just gonna get right into my thoughts on this right away, because what you must know about the Tempo Move is this. One, the value proposition for the cost is possibly the highest of any connected fitness product out there right now, and quite possibly enough to be disruptive of the entire connected fitness space. And trust me, I'm gonna explain what I mean by that statement much more in depth in just a moment. Now, two, as of right now, they have just started shipping these out and it's still very early, so don't expect this to be 100% perfect in every single way if you're gonna buy this ASAP. We're gonna get into some of the issues that I found and some of the things that they are still working on so that you know and are clear on exactly what to expect. And look, I have reviewed a lot of connected fitness tech this year. I have the Peloton Bike Plus, the NordicTrack S22i, the X22i, the Vault, the ProForm 22, the new Bowflex Max Trainer, the Renfo bike, the Mix 2 bike, the Echelon GT Plus, the Ergata Rower, and even the Tempo Studio itself. But if I was to have to get rid of it all and just choose one thing to keep with me and keep me in shape long term, I think I would have to choose the Tempo Move. It would actually be pretty close between the Tempo Move and the Peloton Bike Plus, but the fact that I'm even having that comparison when the Tempo Move is around $2,000 cheaper than the Bike Plus, that's partially what I mean when I say that this is disruptive to the entire connected fitness space.
I'd like to tell you all about my dream. It's a place where strip malls abound and diversions mere moments away, where culture's defined by the ones least refined, and you'll be left behind if you don't fit in.
Thanks for joining me here today. My name is Colin with Connect the Watts, where we cover the latest connected fitness news, reviews, tips, and guides. So if you like this and you want to get more content just like it, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. So I say that Tempo has an extremely high value proposition. What do I mean by that? Well, for one, the initial cost is just $399. And I don't know of any other connected fitness device that even really comes close to that price point that also includes very high quality, nicely designed equipment that is designed to look like it actually belongs inside your home. The design here looks great with both light and dark options to choose from. The cover on the front is held magnetically in place, which allows you to open it from either side to access the weights and clips. On the top and the back is where the two dumbbells are held. And in the front at the top is where we have the core. Now the core is what holds your phone so the camera can be used to provide workout feedback, as well as connect everything to your TV so you can view and take Tempo classes. What's smart about how they've designed the core is that one, it hides the HDMI cable underneath the top, and two, it's completely removable. So if you want to, you can actually just take it out and replace it with a wood piece that is provided to make the whole thing look even more unassuming. And this also allows you to place the Tempo Move anywhere you would like, even away from the TV, because you can keep the core on your entertainment center, but move the weight storage to wherever makes most sense or is most convenient in your room. Now, in terms of the weights that are provided here, the Tempo Move includes two 7.5-pound Olympic style adjustable dumbbells, two sets of 5-pound plates, two sets of 2.5-pound plates, and two sets of 1 1/4 plates. So enough to add up to 25 pounds per dumbbell, which should be enough to get most people started. That said, there are room here for Tempo's 10-pound plates as well. And while unfortunately some ads do kind of make it seem like it comes with it, they do not, and you will need to pay additionally if you'd like to purchase them. I just used mine that came with my Tempo Studio. Regardless, it is still a very good deal since this dumbbell collar weight combination that is included here is worth well over $300. And in addition to this, you get this well-made storage container and the core, and so the package, like I've said, is a very good overall value. The collars, by the way, that are included here are a pretty big improvement over the ones that they used to provide with the Tempo Studio. Not that those ones were bad, but these just slide on and clip on so much more easily, which is kind of important since you'll likely be changing your weights several times during your workouts. Now, all of the weights and everything here has this bright, colorful look, and that is for a very specific reason, because the Tempo Move uses the camera on your phone, and currently just the iPhone, but I do know they are working on it to work with other ones like Android, and allow your phone to be able to, one, scan the weights, color, and size so that it can automatically record how much weight you are using for every single set. 2, it's able to count and record the number of reps that you complete. And 3, to be able to monitor your form and provide live real-time feedback. So let's talk about each of these features a little bit more in depth. So the scan of the weights is very cool. It happens very quickly while you are completing each set, and in most cases, it works really well. It does seem to struggle a bit currently in lower light situations, specifically when using the 10-pound plates. And I encountered this quite a bit because I personally like to work out early in the morning or late at night when my daughter is in bed, and generally I don't have every single light turned on when I'm working out. Now, I do know that they are working on being able to use the LiDAR radar tech from some of the newer phones, and so once they have that figured out, these low light situation issues should no longer really be an issue at all. But until then, you will need to make sure that you have at least some decent lighting when you're working out with your move. And this brings up another issue that you may have, and that is that you cannot really use the tempo move to take classes with your own weights, as the tech isn't really designed to be able to read them. Now, this won't be a huge issue for the vast majority of people that don't plan on using dumbbells heavier than 45 pounds, but for those of you who are, this is a limitation that you should be aware of. Especially since with the Tempo Studio, I was at least able to use some of my own weights because you're able to adjust the weights manually on the screen. Also know that unlike the Tempo Studio, the Tempo Move is not currently functional with barbell or kettlebell classes, although that should be coming in early 2022. Just know that they are not quite here yet. Now, rep counting though, that seems to be pretty spot on even in those lower light situations. I actually never encountered a misread rep during my entire testing process with the Tempo Move. The only exception was when there was somebody else in the room, in the camera next to me. Things can get a little funky when that happens. Even having my kid on the sofa was enough to really screw up the rep registration, but in most cases, I found it to work really, really well. And finally, we have the movement assessment and live form feedback. And look, I have yet to see anybody pull this off really well yet, and Tempo is no different. I mentioned this in my review of the Tempo Studio, but in its current state, the form feedback is not really a reason to purchase this. The feedback that you get is extremely limited and will only register a few handful of faults. And often the movement faults that it registers aren't even helpful and sometimes are just straight up wrong. Like the Tempo Move for me is absolutely certain that I am squatting on my toes when I am definitely not. Whereas other real faults that I tried to test, like lifting with a rounded back or not going anywhere near full depth on a squat, it doesn't really tell me anything about those. I actually just wish the Tempo Move would allow me to turn these form faults off completely. That being said, I have no doubt that this form correction will continue to get better. I've actually noticed a few small improvements in the months since I reviewed the Tempo Studio, so I think possibly over time, this could get really good. But there are a lot of improvements that need to be made before this becomes a legitimate tool to help you improve your form significantly. Now, the good news and why I'm so optimistic about Tempo is that all of these issues that I'm talking about are not inherent in the actual product, meaning they just require software improvements, which can be improved over time as long as you plan on continuing to get more advanced smartphones in the future, which I think the vast majority of us do, in which case you'll never need to really buy a new upgraded Tempo Move to be able to access the latest tech. Whereas I truly do question the long-term functionality of some other connected fitness products. Even the Tempo Studio, which I applauded for being very future-proof with having extremely fast processing power and 3D tech, that ultimately will not outlast the Tempo Move because the Tempo Move will continue to evolve along with your phone tech as well as the improvements they make to their software and AI. Even in just the past few months, they've added new features like the Apple Watch integration, which allows you to use your Apple Watch as your heart rate monitor and for you to be able to pause your classes on your watch, which is actually pretty useful, especially for the strength classes where you may need to pause the class briefly to change your weights. And when I think about value, I also think about how long the equipment will last before you're gonna have issues and how much it can still be used even if you choose not to have a subscription-based membership. And here the Tempo Move really shines because the dumbbells here, if you take decent care of them, will last you 20 years easily. And let's just say you don't want to keep your Tempo membership subscription forever. And we'll talk about more what's included with that membership in just a moment. But even without that, the Tempo Move still holds its value. You still have these great dumbbells to work out with. You have this great looking storage container, and you can even still hook up your phone from it to your TV to continue taking classes, even if they're from a different fitness app if you really want to. And I cannot think of any other connected fitness device that holds this much value without requiring a membership. So let's talk about that Tempo membership for a moment. It costs $39 per month and includes hundreds of classes with new classes being added daily. And I say hundreds and not thousands of classes because the vast majority of classes that you can find on the Tempo Studio are not available here because unfortunately they didn't know they'd be filming for the Tempo Move when they created those. Which honestly is a damn shame because there were so many good classes and programs that you can no longer find here. But this is obviously just going to be a short-term issue since they are continuing to add new classes daily. It won't be long before you have as many classes and programs as you would ever want or need. It's also currently missing a few other features that are available on the Tempo Studio, like live classes, joining groups, and more complete stat tracking on your profile. But they have already implemented the leaderboard into classes here, which allows you to see how you're doing compared to everybody else. And you can select to view this either in volume or reps. The difference between them is that volume allows you to have a score that's based on the weight that you use, whereas reps just compares how many reps you do compared to everybody else. So if you like to lift heavy and want to really compare your total volume, you can do that. Or if you're not lifting quite as heavy, you can still be motivated on the leaderboard by choosing reps. Personally, I'm just not a big fan of leaderboards in general for strength workouts because I think it incentivizes the wrong types of behavior, like adding extra reps or moving faster than you should be for the intended purpose of the workout. But I do like the leaderboard here on workouts that are more conditioning based, as it gives you some numbers to shoot for. And I found that it does actually motivate me quite a bit to try to push myself a little bit harder to see how high I can get up on that leaderboard. And really, once they start building the library up here, adding back the live classes, implementing the ability to take barbell classes with the Move, which by the way is some of the best content that Tempo has to offer, as well as all of the rest of the missing features, then the Tempo Move is just gonna become more valuable over time. And speaking of classes, I talked about this at length in my review of the Tempo Studio, but the gist of it is that the Tempo classes are really what makes Tempo so special. Forget the fancy tech, forget the nice equipment. It's the coaches and workouts here that make the Tempo Move worth having. Because Tempo offers what I have referred to as real training. And I don't say that to be dismissive of other types of workouts or training, because every workout is real training. But what I mean by that is that a lot of connected fitness at-home programs are not designed with things that you would expect to see from a legitimate strength and conditioning fitness facility. And basic things like progressive overload from class to class, or adequate rest periods for strength sets to ensure that you're actually going to be able to get results, or even just having sets, reps, and movement combinations that make sense from an exercise science perspective. Taking a class with Tempo is really like taking a class from an expert at home. And going back to the beginning of this video, that is why I say if I had to choose one piece of equipment to keep long-term, it's probably gonna be the Tempo Move. Because since I know it's future-proof, I know it's not gonna become obsolete, I know that for whatever reason, if I don't wanna keep my subscription, I'll still be able to get tremendous value from it, and I know that the membership that it does come with is one of the best that utilizes real tried and true training methods to help me get long-term results. And these are all important issues that other devices have, and the Tempo Move moves past them, allowing more people to have access to great training at home. And for that reason, I cannot help but highly recommend the Tempo Move. It is my favorite new connected fitness tech to come out in 2021. I hope that it is widely successful, and I hope that Tempo continues to take this formula that they have and continue to improve their software that utilizes the tech on our phones to create the best experience possible. And if you want to learn more about my thoughts about Tempo and the Tempo Studio, make sure to watch my full review of that over here. Thank you so much for joining me here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like content like this. Please make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed it. It helps us out a lot. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.